This is the Yerushalmi Berachos Taf Mem Gimel according to the Ozvada article pagination, which corresponds in the Vilna pagination to Kaf Tesel base. This is a long blot, relatively speaking, but so much of it is Agadata, so hopefully it should go smoothly. I started Mem Gimel Ralph yesterday, which I probably shouldn't have done it. But it doesn't matter. We can start it over again. Can you dive into any direction that you want? Daniel had the windows open in his second floor in his attic towards Yerushalayim and towards Yerushalayim. We should daven. Came. So you think did it only happen to daven? They only daven towards Yerushalayim only once they came into Golus and Bavel. Just like he had done previously from older times. Presumably it means that even during in Eretz Yisrael, when the Beis Hamikdash existed, everybody would daven towards Yerushalayim. Before we spoke about davening all three at once. Well, that we rejected. What about davening them anytime you want? Says I daven evening, morning, and afternoon, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu hears my voice. And I believe this passage is not brought down in the Yerushalmi. I mean the Bavli. The Mishal Shah says it is in Brachos Lamed Aleph Amrav. So I rescind that statement. Yohyeh Magbia Kol Mispal, who is a person daven in a loud voice. Pirish B'chana B'chana Him Medaberes Aliba. Chana spoke in her heart. So that means that one should daven silently. Yohyeh Mahara Belev. Well, maybe that means you could just think the words of tefillah. Tamulo Raks Vasen Os. Her lips are moving. Okay, tzad marchish bisvosov. You whisper with your lips. Amar Rabbi Yossi B'china Min HaPasuk Hazeh Ad Lomed Arba Dvarim. From this pasuk you learn four things. B'chana Himeder Beres Aliba B'chan Shatfilah Tzricha Kavana. Spoke about the tefillah being avodah shebelev, but it has to be Beres Aliba, which means that you're davening with the proper kavana in the heart. As Moshe says, kavanas liba. Just the lips are moving. And here you see you have to express with your lips. The Moshe said previously, it's not explicit in the pasuk, but the assumption is that you're supposed to be able to hear with your own ears what you're saying. From this we see a person should not lift up his voice in davening. Davening is a private thing. Eli thought she was shikar, and therefore he rebuked her. From here we see that a drunk person may not daven. That which Chana Barba said seems to argue that not Chana Barba Amar Lechevraya. Chana Barba said to the Chevra, let me tell you a good thing. The Chametz, the Rav, the Ovid. I saw Rav do. I made to come with Shmuel, and I said in front of Shmuel, the Nashka Buminika came and kissed me on my mouth. It says, to fulfill the pasuk. So Saim Yishak Meshid Dvarim Lechochim. Right, so that was how they used to indicate a great approval of what a person said. So the was Baruch Atah. When you say Baruch Atah at the beginning of the bracha Shocheach, you bow down. When you come to mention the name of Hashem's name, we say that. So that's when you come to say Hashem, Zokef. You then come upright again. Shmuel Amar v'ana v'na, which is the same as v'ana. On Amri's time, I'm going to explain with which pasuk we learn this. Hashem's Zokef Kevuvim. Hashem raises those who are bent over. Rabbi Amir says, Lo mistabra the law, which in Yerushalmi means da ella. That doesn't seem to be the proper pasuk. Shmi nichasu. Rather, before my name, he is bent over. So in other words, Livnei Shmi is when you say Baruch Atah. And perhaps also Hashem. Rabbi Yavin never said, "Yeah, b'shmi nichasu." Have a yois. Then you bow down. Also, when you say Hashem, have a leis even elish b'nei shmi nichasu, before my name. A kodem actually is Hashem for nichasu. Well, evidently, the way he understood Rabbi Ami was that Rabbi Ami held that you only bow down when you say the Shem Hashem. And Rabbi Avun said, wait a minute, that would be okay. It's true. It says Shmini Chasu. But it says Mipnei Shchini Chasu. So that means you bow down before you mention the name. When you mention the name, you're already Nichas. You are already bowing over. From the Yerushalmi, it seems pretty clear that you remain bowed over until you say Hashem, and then you uplift yourself, because the name of Hashem either is okay for Kufufim, it rises you up, or it is raises you up, or it is because as Rabban says, actually it's Gashen Kfar Nichasu, and you're still bowing down at the time that you say the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So how does this argue on what has Chaim Barba argue on what Rav said? So the Rashi really and Charedim say that it argues because if Rav had down silently, how would the Chaim Barba be able to know where he bowed down, where he raised up his head? So it must be that Rav davened at least loud enough for Chaim Barba to hear what he was saying at the time that he was bowing down. That's the upshot. The Moshe says that this is this is not really the Musa. The Pliga goes on a different point, not, and this is going on the first parak Halacha Dalet. But in any event, let's go for now with the Charedim and the Rasul and the Charedim. Rabbi Abrazav the Matzle Bekala. Rabbi Abrazav the daven out loud. Rabbi Yonah can have a Matzle Beknishta. When he would daven and in the shul, have a matzah b'chish, would daven silently. Could have a matzah b'beisa when he would daven at home, have a matzah b'kola. He would daven out loud. Ad yufim b'nei beisei tzlusa minei. In order that the people in his household, presumably the women and children, would learn from him how to daven. Amray Mona said, b'nei beisei the abba yofa tzlusa minei. Mona said, and the members of the household of my father, if I recall correctly, is Rabbi Yoina. It is Rabbi Yoina. So Mnei Beisa there Abba Yafa Utzosim Minei. I guess that he's confirming that that was in fact what took place. That the people in this house of Rabbi Yoina learned that how to daven from the example of their father. That's Bnei Moshe says Bnei Mesid Abba Komakach Yanoi Gankin Abba Shumnei Beso. So he learns that Abba. It seems that Abba is somebody's name and not Rabbi Yoina. But there's one mistaken to say that it means it's referring to Rabbi Yoina, his father, and that is what the Marah Fulda says here. Okay. Where they learned that there's supposed to be 3 tefillos. Because the period, the day changes. There's 3 different aspects, and for each aspect you have to daven 8 tefillah. In the morning, you should say that, thank you for taking me out from darkness to light. Just like I thank you that just like I saw the sun in the east, I so too see it now in the west. It's a bakasha. That just like yesterday you took me out from darkness to light, so too from this darkness which I'm in now, you should take me out to light in the morning. I don't think this is the Bibli. What is the social shot say here? No, it's not. It's a medrash. Medrash Rabbah is mostly taken from the Yerushalmi. That's what somebody told me years ago, and it seems to be true. So in any event, yes, this is a fascinating idea of Rosh Hashanah that every aspect of the day, it's like we learn Baruch Hashem Yom Yom Kol Yom Main B'Chaysav. So too every stage of the day has its own tefillah. So it's in that according to Shimon Chomeini, it's not necessarily going to Shemon Esrei though. I guess they would according to Shimon Chomeini, but he tagged Shemon Esrei onto these 3 times. And I guess the way we understand with Yerushalmi Berachos, it's as if you're saying these things when you're saying Shemon Esrei, because these are not incorporated into our davening, obviously. Rabbi Shimon Levi, now we come to the more conventional, so to speak, ideas, which we have in Bavli. Rabbi Shimon Levi, Tefillah mi'avos limdum. Learn tefillah from the avos. Tefillah shachar me'Avraham Avinu. Learn shachar from Avraham Avinu. By Hashkem Avraham Aboker Makom Asher Amad Shel Lifnei Hashem, he got up to the place where he stood before Kodesh Baruch Hu. Vein Amida Tefillah. Amida is standing is a lashon of tefillah. Come on the time, like it says, Vayamol Pinchas Vayafal. Pinchas stood up and davened. Tefillah said Mincha Mitzchak. Learn Mincha from Yitzchak. Vaytzei Yitzchak L'suach Basodeh. Yitzchak went out to L'suach Basodeh. According to some, the Pashup Shat Mefarshim means he's going out to tend the bushes, Sichim. Vein Sicha L'Tefillah. But we darshan that Sicha is Tefillah. Come on the famous, like it says, Tefillah Lani Ki Atof. And Tefillah for a purpose, and when he wraps himself, when he's wrapped in something, when he is wrapped up, V'lifnei Hashem he spoke Sicha, and before Kodesh Baruch Hu he spills out his siach. This kind of conversation. Tefillah Erev Yaakov, Ma'araf Yaakov. Vayivgav Mamakom Yoshan, he what's the word? I remember the backhand word. He came to contact. There's a better word for that. With the place, and he had slept there. Vein Pegia El Tefillah. Pegia is a confrontation. And confrontation is Tefillah. Come on the day where Pigu no ba Hashem Tzvakos confront the Kodesh Baruch Hu. V'amar said, Al Tisa ba'adam minah b'Tefillah. Another part says, don't daven for them. Al Tifka bi. These are obviously different Lashonos of Tefillah. The 10 Lashonos of Tefillah. So he said, Kodesh Baruch Hu saying, don't read Tefillah or Pegia. Rabbanan Amru Tefillah Mitini Amru. Rabbanan say that Tefillah learn from the Tamidim. Tefillah Shachar Mitamid Shachar. Shachar is learned from the Tamid Shachar. It's Kevin Scott Tessa Boker. Tefillah Samo Mincha Mitamid Sheben Rabbain. It's Tashita Seben Rabbain. Tefillah Erev Lo Matzu B'Medlet Losa. They didn't find anything that to B'Shanu Osa Stam. They just enacted it generically. Interesting perspective. So that's what it says. Tefillas Erev doesn't have a set time because it doesn't correspond to any specific korban. Musafim Kol Yom must have been the entire day. It looks like the Musafim in the base of Mikdash it could have been the entire day between the two meaning. Amr said even Marav has corresponds to a certain aspect of the base of Mikdash, as they say in the Bavli. The limbs and fats which are burning on top of his back throughout the night. Marav corresponds to that, to those the burning of the fats and limbs, which was optional. There was only the fats and limbs were left over from. They're not consumed. There was not enough time to take care of them during the day. So Marav also initially was an optional activity. Okay, Rabbi Yehuda Omer at Arba Shos. Midibur has the Torah Lamad Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda learned his opinion from the Torah. Tanya Rabbi Shmuel v'chama shemesh v'names. The sun got hot and the moon dissolved. Arba Shos. That's 4 hours, and that means it's the end of the morning. So the chakras is over. After Rabbi Shos, oin elakad b'sheish shos. How do you know it's the 4 hours? Maybe it's 6 hours. No, because it says kichol mayom. The heat of the day. That's Harei Sheish Amor. That's the 6 hour. That's noon. Amani Mekayim B'cham Hashem Hashem Meis. Not where it's getting warm. Not when it's at the height of its heat. Barba Shos at 4 hours. Vat Dorish Baboker. And we darshan Baboker. It says by the Mon by Boker, and the Shachris is supposed to be also in the Boker. So therefore we make that link, and Ma Boker Shem Barba Show. It's just like morning in the vis-a-vis the Mon was up to 4 hours. It was 4 hours a day. Abba Boker Shem Kan. So too Boker, which is stated here, is also up to 4 hours. So the truth is that the Boker is not really going on Tefillah necessarily. It's going on the Korban Tamid. Right? We're learning because the Korban Tamid goes also 4 hours because it says Tamid by the Mon, V'lechem Boker Lisba, and it says by Boker by Lasa Boker, Lasa Tamid, whatever that is. I forget that's the exact pasuk there. There's a different pasuk, but the Talmud Shel Boker also still 4 hours, and therefore the inference is the same thing is true about Tefillah as well. Barbashain Shimshel Chamin Betula Career. Now this is why it's called Cham Hashemesh and Chom Hayom, because for 4 hours in the day the sun is hot and the shade is cool. But Shishain at 6 hours Shimshel Chamin Betula Chamin, it's hot both in the sun and in the shade. It's a time when there's no shade for any creature because the sun is directly overhead. So there's a minimal amount of shade, if any. Rabbi Yasa Matzli Yasa would daven during the third hour, and the Pnei Moshe says the Lefishas Man Kriya Shema who Kedei Smoke Tefillah. He wanted to. He said to Kriya Shema during the third hour, and he wanted to, and there was some good Tefillah. So he ended up having the Shachris Shema during the third hour as well. I think there's an additional limit here, which is that we know that according to the Rambam, the Chatchila should daven b'Kivul Sikin, and it's only b'diavad to daven afterwards. So I think that the Yerushalmi is telling us that there were great Tanoim who Amroim, sorry, in this case, who were daven later than Bosikin, and it was still considered by them to be an appropriate mode of conduct. Rabbi Chia Barba, have a matzah b'Tlashin. Saying to Rabbi Chia Barba, Rabbi Brechia Chamuni Kari Kriya Shema matzah beside Tlashin. He used to do the said Shema, and he davened after 3 hours. Hot Nina, and so ask Gemara asks, how can you do this? According to Mikam Be'elach, you wait after 3 hours, lo you see Kodim Shukar, but I don't lose, you're not somewhere still learning. But the implication being that you should read it before 3 hours in order to be kind of also mitzvah Kriya Shema. Never Kiba Malchus Shemayim Bonasa. So we can say that he read the Kabbalah Omak Shemayim at the proper time. So it's a little bit mashma that all you need to be say is, I believe that Shitas Rashi in the Brachos is that you only need the first pasuk, because you just need Kabbalah Omak Shemayim during the time of the 3 hours, which is the Zman Kriya Shema. It says more further. Ime edus. It's possible that from testimony, Lama Rabbi Yehuda learned to 4 hours. It's like kind of the Pnei Moshe says the E is like kind of like your boy's Ema. He learned it from Maseches Edios, where Rabbi Yehuda Mendava said the following. The Mara Yisim Shem Rishubim Levi. Well, actually, Rabbi Yehuda is coming later up. First, we'll give you the background to Rabbi Yehuda. The Mara Yisim Shem Rabbi Shimon Levi. The main days of the reign of the Greeks. They used to lower down this actually during there was at the end of the period of the Greeks, just before the Romans came in. So Ahurkaros and Aristobulus, the sons of the Kohen Gadol, were having a civil war, and one of them was inside the city, one of them was outside the city. I forget which one was which. And so they, since they were laying siege to the city, to Yerushalayim. But nobody wanted Korban Tamid to be bought though, so therefore the people inside would lower 2 buckets of gold, and the people outside would raise up to them 2 Korbanos Tamid. Um, uh, so it says there that in the story it says one day somebody told them on the outside just give them pigs instead, and the pigs were raised, and uh, they uh, they reached out to the wall to see grab hold of the walls of Yerushalayim, and these Daza Eretz Yisrael, right? So shook as a result, 400 parsa, 400 parsa. So it could be that when they that day when they raised orphan them pigs, it could be that's when this took place. But also Shah here Hakadosh Baruch Hu name Hakadosh Baruch illuminated their eyes. And they found two the the two goats which were checked at the in the place where they kept the goats for the carbon tummy. We used to keep them in order to check them out for 4 days before they sacrificed them. Actually, the story of the pig is going to come up, so it sounds like it was before the pig story. So maybe I was. Let's take that back for the time being. But I'll also show you Rabbi Yehuda ben Barabba. On that day, Yehuda Barabba testified that Talmid Shel Shachar Shkor Barabba shows that the Talmid Shel Shachar was sacrificed at 4 hours. So in other words, until they found that those sheep, those goats, it took them until 4 hours, and that's why we see from that testimony that you can sacrifice the Talmid till 4 hours into the day. So according to Yerushalmi, evidently there were two stories, because with the Bavli it's brought down it was during the Greek period before Pompey conquered Yerushalayim. But here it says, even in the days of this wicked Malchus, meaning the Romans, they would lower down 2 buckets of gold, and they would lift up two lambs to them for Korban Tamid. In the Bible, it says that this is the time when, since the Bible is only at the time of the Greeks, so that Lachash was somebody said to whoever was outside that B'chachma Yavanis to pick up, give them pigs, and therefore they asked for Chachma Yavanis. But this is here it's saying that was the time of the Romans, the story with the Chazirim. But it sounds like maybe when it says Afi Me Malchus Arisha, maybe it means that there was a repetition of the story of the pigs. In other words, they did not just that they had the issue with the Korban Tamid to lower the gold and raise the Korban Tamid, but also the issue of the pigs maybe as part of what repeated itself during the time of the Romans. I don't know. Again, after he made Malchus Arisha, they would let down 2 buckets of gold. When they would give up to raise up 2 sheep. But some one day, in the end, they would lower down the buckets of gold. And they gave up 2, raised up 2 pigs. They didn't get to halfway up the wall, till the pigs seized hold of the wall. These daza choma, and the wall shook. The covets are boing parsa Eretz Yisrael. And here it's not these daza Eretz Yisrael, but the pig presumably jumped 40 parsa to the left land of Israel. And at that time, the Averos caused the Talmud to cease, and the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed eventually as the end because of this. In the course of this process, my time Rabban was what's the base of Rabban who say that tefillah is until Chatzos, not till 4 hours. Shnayim layom, because it says 2 a day. Evidently the 2 a day. Chalok esayom, divide up the day, right? So therefore, divide the day means the Talmud Shel Shachar to Chatzos and Shemen Arbaim the has been after chatzos. So that's why you daven. Shachar is till chatzos, and after mincha after chatzos. We wait to 12:30 is that should already be nicker that it's definitely after chatzos. So what does Rabbi Yehuda do? This is the Shnayim Layom. He says Shnayim Layom is not by a day, but Shnayim Yom Chavel Yom. The two karbanos are mandated each day, right? And that's not referring to the to the times, but rather to the fact that they're 2 a day. Shnayim Yom Shtei Praktim Yom 2 a day. There are 2 defense attorneys, which are karbanos tamid, are for us each and every day. Okay, even though the statement Rabbi Yehuda or the statement which we're giving in order to explain the Shita continues, that's already getting too far to Mem Daled Aleph, so we will stop here for today.